to another episode of Spotlight Sessions. My name is Ilan Fisher. I work here at accessiBe, heading up our nonprofit partnerships. And today is going to be really awesome because I'm having a conversation with Rick, who's the CEO of Employment Solutions. How's it going, Rick?
Oh, well, it's morning here in Lexington, and I'm delighted to be on the program.
Amazing. So, Rick, you and I spoke a little bit off camera, and I've checked out your website. But for those of us who might know a little bit less, tell us a little bit about yourself. Tell us a little bit about your personal, professional background.
Well, I was born in northern Wisconsin and was raised on a dairy farm, as a matter of fact. Came to Kentucky in 1977. I had moved, I was in far western Kentucky at the time. And then in 1986, moved to Lexington. In 1989, I assumed my current job. So I've been here like a really, really long time. uh,
Wow.
and, we, there's been a lot of changes over the years, of course.
First of all, like people spending that much time in a company or in an organization is very rare. So
It
congratulations.
is, yeah.
Speaking, as a millennial, that's something that isn't always the case. So I wanted to thank you for your dedication. So Rick, can you tell me a little bit more about the work and scope and mission of Employment Solutions?
When I came to Employment Solutions, it was known as Metro Industries at the time, but at that time, it had a more focused mission of helping people with intellectual disabilities find and also we provided work for people with intellectual disabilities. Um, we have largely expanded that mission to be a very broad one over time. So now we're an organization that assists people attain personal and economic independence. Um, Probably the first change we made was because at the time that in the Clinton administration, when they were considering and actually passed welfare reform, there was a lot of anxiety that, gosh, we're going to force these individuals who receive government benefits. It's going to be time limited, and they're going to be expected to work. And there was a lot of hand wringing over that. And you know, our attitude was that no matter how large your barrier was, that everyone can work and be productive. So we thought, well, if we bring that attitude to this other population, and we would have something to offer. So as a consequence of that, we developed a career college that's still here called the College for Technical Education, and it's a certificate-based program. The people it works with are not necessarily uh, disabled, and more low-income folks, folks that would really have a difficult time. I know they would have a difficult time being successful in, let's say, a typical post-secondary education setting, including a community college. And so it's more hands-on, more focused, and we've had that operation ever since. Then
Wow.
other programs we've added of a lot of more therapeutic programs. Kentucky passed now has a waiver program that uses Medicaid funds. That really expanded the services for people with developmental disabilities a whole lot, a great deal. And and for example, now we have residential services. We have, and that residential service is, I think, kind of interesting. We use a I guess you'd call it a adult foster care model, where we contract with families to bring individuals into their home, and so be part of the family unit. And that has really been successful. I mean, you really see a lot of change in people as opposed to like living in a staff department where there's shifts and turnover. It's really more of a really like a family situation. So we've been, very proud of that. We've added much more robust job placement services, um, variety, and also we've also added transportation services, and that's been a great undertaking. The most recent program we've added is a behavioral health clinic, and it's just like I opened just a couple days ago. And so our idea with that is that there's really, the rates that Medicaid pays for counseling and that kind of intervention is pretty low. And it's as a consequence, like here in Lexington, many psychiatrists don't even take private, they don't take Medicaid, they don't take private insurance. It's cash on the barrelhead. So there's a lot of folks, particularly with the Medicaid expansion here in the United States, that really don't have access to those services. And so we have gone on this uh, quest to develop a behavioral health clinic that doesn't lose money. We're not going to make money, but hopefully and hopefully we can at least offer a very quality service without losing money. I think that's the best we can do with this is probably break even.
So, first of all, thank you for going into so much depth. And Rick, I was really interested in the fact you've been really working in the career for 30 years, really providing for people with disabilities, people kind of from low income homes who may have less access to funds or opportunities or really just some basic models. What I would be interested to know is what your version or what your definition of accessibility is, because you've got a very broad scope
Yeah.
of what you're doing with Employer Solution, but I'd be very interested to understand that.
Well, back in the day, because I go back a long time, when I guess the Americans with Disabilities Act was passed in the early '90s. Accessibility meant, accessibility to buildings, physical places, and things have changed. Now, accessibility has to include the ability to obtain information, to communicate. So, place, as we know from this pandemic, maybe not as important as it used to be. What's important now, more with greater importance, is access to the internet, access to communication, and I guess that's my definition is ex- accessibility to not only places but also information and accessibility to other people that you can communicate with.
It's very,
It's a,
very
it's a
powerful.
great leveler, you know. Technology is a great leveler. Uh,
And Rick, on that topic, you say technology is a great leveler, but there's also, the wider business community that can, support nonprofits and support these missions. What is a message that you generally have when you're speaking to the business community to either get support for your programs, or get support for funding, or get support otherwise? What's the message you traditionally give to them about access and inclusion?
we don't seek charitable contributions and haven't for a long time. I felt that if we're going to present people that we help or serve as having value, we shouldn't be holding out our hand as being needy as an organization, and it should just stand on its own. So we just try to present our individuals as people who are going to help you make money, and not as um, members who need pity or anything like that. So I guess that's my attitude.
And that's really really real. You're saying like at the end of the day, we're all people, and that's the most important thing. And if people have value, then you should go employ them. So I
Right,
take
and as
that
we were
as
talking earlier, I mean, we don't really promote employment solutions per se. We have, as you know, a number of divisions, and they stand on their own. And as I like all of the managers to believe, is that this is your business, okay? And treat it like your business. And and if you find someone who treats it like they own it, you don't have to supervise them very much. They do a pretty good job.
thank you, Rick. And Rick, just the last question I wanted to ask is anybody listening to this who wants to get more involved with you, with your organizations, with your missions, how can they get involved with you?
Well, I assume that most people just get involved. Well, um, in terms of finding folks who like will come to school with us or utilize our services, we're using more and more social media, and that's how we're getting our message out primarily now is through social media, and we're having starting to have success with that.
Great. And on what is your social handles or your website so people can come find you?
Well, our website is easy. It's as in employment, ES as in employment solutions, Inc. And there you'll see links to all our other divisions, um, and you can go from there.
Amazing. Rick, again, I wanted to thank you for all the work that you've been doing. You're doing an absolute fortune and really changing and impacting a lot of people's lives. And also wanted to thank you for being a part of the Spotlight sessions and being a very passionate accessiBe partner. So we look forward into the next collaboration, next conversation.
Well, I want to thank you too for your being able to install your accessibility widgets on all these different websites. There's several, and you guys have been just a delight to work with. I want to say that it was very painless, very easy, and I thank you.
Thank you for those kind words, Rick. Until next time.
All right, bye.